Hey guys, welcome to this video. So today we're going to go through a couple of different types of breath and practice moving into yoga poses that will create difficult sensations in the body like you experience when you have contractions during labor and birth. We're going to practice using those types of breath to manage the sensations, to deal with what comes up in the mind, and to almost just practice what that experience of labor and birth might feel like. Because I know if you've never been through it before, you can feel like, how am I going to cope with this? And you can learn all the different tools, but it can be really helpful applying it and feeling sensations in the body that don't feel good in a safe way, of course. It's not going to be causing any injuries or anything like that, but it can be good to practice these tools before you get into the main event. If you're brand new here though, welcome. My name is Bettina Ray. I'm a yoga teacher and I specialize in yoga for fertility, pregnancy, birth, and early motherhood. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe and check the description box for all the links to any videos or resources that I mention in this particular class. Before we get started, if you've never practiced yoga before or you've never practiced pregnancy yoga before, I have a free guide for pregnancy and birth. Again, it will be linked below. Let's get into this class. So if I had to pick one tool to use going into birth, it would 100% be the breath. Now, you can do lots of different types of breathing and different courses will teach different techniques, but I think the commonality between all of them is really long, deep breaths. Because when we do short, shallow breaths, it's like that fear breathing, that anxiety breath. But when you take it to your belly, it literally tells your nervous system that it can calm down, that you are safe. So to start with, we're just going to simply practice that deep belly breathing. So bring the hands onto your belly. As you inhale, I want you to imagine that belly expanding like a balloon. And as you exhale, I want you to see if you can make the exhale as long as you possibly can. And again, inhale. This time as you exhale, see if you can gently constrict the throat. So we call it Ujjayi breath in yoga. One more time, inhale. All right, so we're going to use this breath now in a pose that's going to bring quite intense sensations into the feet. So of course, if you start to cramp up and you really need to move out, come forward, bring the weight forward onto the hands so it's not in the toes, or rest up completely. But the idea is this is going to get uncomfortable. So we want to feel those uncomfortable sensations so that we can practice using that breath and practice noticing what goes on in the mind as we feel uncomfortable. So if you're ready to, take a seat back on those heels. And I just want you, I'm going to be nice and quiet because I just want you to observe what goes on in your own mind for the first time round. So you might have the hands on the belly and just practicing that Ujjayi breath again. And then gently releasing. So you might want to sit down on the bottom now and just give those feet a little bit of a rub if they're feeling quite sore and tense. So I just want you to reflect now on what came up for you. Was it that you found yourself going, this is horrible, I can't do this, I want out, I'm stopping. And maybe you did stop. Or maybe you found yourself being able to go, okay, I'm just going to focus on that breath. I'm just breathing into the belly and I'm just softening and I'm softening through my shoulders. And I want you to just reflect on how you naturally went which side or the other. So obviously we want to go to that latter side. We want to go to focusing on the belly, expanding. We want to soften the body. So instead of getting caught up here going, ow, 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 you want to soften everything down. This is why this is such a good practice, because you're getting used to feeling uncomfortable in the body. and being able to work with the mind, work with the breath, and consciously relax when you're feeling uncomfortable. So the second pose that we're going to do is we're going to come into a squat against the wall. So I do a lot of this in my Yoga for Birth series. So again, the link is below if you want to check it out. There's a full yoga class where we go through all this sort of stuff where you practice dealing with contractions. So this is a really good one because it does get really intense on the legs quite quickly. We're going to use a different breath this time though. We're going to use the B breath. I've done a whole video on the B breath. The link will be below. Basically, you're humming out through the mouth and you're going to focus on the sensations and the vibrations that it causes. And it often allows you to really lengthen out the breath because there's no air escaping through the lips because they're closed. We can really lengthen it out. So we'll practice the breath first. Again, as you breathe in, breathe into the belly because like any other muscle, we want to give that uterus as much oxygen that we can on the inhale. So inhale, expand into the belly. And on the exhale, lips are closed, humming through the lips. And I could keep going. So as you can see, I get a much longer exhale and it really helps to keep you focused and in that focused space. So let's come to the wall now. And you're just gonna bring your thighs parallel. So you wanna walk them out far enough that you can really press in. And the reason you wanna come this far is because it's gonna challenge those thighs to really start working. So let everything else soften into the wall. As you inhale, breathe into the belly. And then come back to that hum. See if you can soften through the jaw. Breathe in again. So if you've got the mental soundtrack of this is hurting, can you come back to a really positive one? You can do this. You've got this. Just breathe. We'll practice one more, inhaling. And release. I'm sliding down the wall, which is why my voice is going a little shaky. So just let those thighs relax. So maybe come back to hands and knees and just rock it out, releasing any tension that you've created in those thighs. So again, just reflecting on maybe what you found better, whether it was that B breath, which, you know, before birth and even now after birth, I feel a little bit silly practicing, to be completely honest with you, but 100%, that's the natural sound that I wanted to make during birth. And I know a lot of women really come to that sort of animalistic, sort of moaning sound quite naturally, even if they haven't learned any yoga techniques, because it's helpful. It's sending that energy downward. It gives you that audible focus instead of just trying to focus on the breath, because the mind can get really loud. And at times you might find your mind getting into that frame of, I can't do this, this hurts, ow, ow, ow. And I know I feel that in the shoulders. I feel like, ow, 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 it's like I want to escape my own body. But if you can focus on something like that sound, you can bring yourself back into your body, remind yourself to really soften and relax the upper body so that the lower body will follow. So they are two types of breath that I really recommend you using during birth to help you deal with the pain or the discomfort of contractions. Let me know how you found those two breaths in the comments. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.